Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. I shall see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual, and talking about, what did I talk about? Okay, yesterday I talked about Endling, which, by the way, I did realise after I spoke about Endling, I never brought up that visually it's a very pretty game. It's very satisfying to run around in, just sort of like running in this big circle as things go, but yeah, what did I talk about before that? Sorry, that's my microwave impression. Yeah, so the train from Harry Potter, the rainy day tourism. No, it was the one after this, wasn't it? I can't remember. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 9:03 PM on Monday, September 9th, 2024. Let's see, what did we do after this? We went to the Isle of Skye. Did I talk about this? I think I did. I genuinely don't remember what I spoke about. I can only remember the Endling one. But nonetheless, I can easily check it. So we'll see exactly what it was. Hey, fairy pools and just a rock. Okay, so we're talking about whatever's after that, which I assume might be Loch Ness. I'm not actually sure off the top of my head. But yeah, apart from that, I don't know, just sort of chilling. Did I mention that in Zenith Zone Zero? Jane's banner's up, and I was like, I kind of want more mindscapes of Seth if I want to build him, that sort of thing. So I'm like, might as well give it a shot, because I was like, I can use Ambi mindscapes, I can use Seth ones. Next pull, literally next pull. I don't know how much pity it would be. It would probably be like less than 10 or something. Got Lycon, one Lycon, the number one character I wanted from this game, and I managed to pull him, and I jumped out my seat. Well, by jumped up out my seat, I more like jumped up from my seat, and I went, whoa. It was crazy. So I've got my premium ice team, mono ice team. I've got my disorder Jane team, which is also apparently not her best team, but still. Yeah. Also in the standard banner, I got Grace's Wenjin as well. So there you go. There's your capture game update. Yeah, the next stuff, was it Loch Ness? I think it might have been Loch Ness, or maybe it wasn't Loch Ness. I might be losing my mind. Where is this? What am I looking at? I don't know, because this is... No, okay, wait, but this is still a fairy pools area. Okay, scroll down. What do we do next? This is petrol, eating food. Just the largest moth we've ever seen. Oh, we did some geocaching. I don't know if I've ever spoken about geocaching before. Let's see. Geocache. No, okay. That's actually crazy. It's not the first time I've ever done geocaching. I've done it maybe once or twice before. I'm trying to remember. The first time I did it, well, one of my friends likes it a lot. What do I think about it? I think it's fine. You know. It's certainly, I wouldn't classify it as one of my hobbies, nor is it something I would go out to do. But, like, I mean, it's basically just walking. Just more like directional walking. So, you know, I can't hate on it or anything like that. I'm not really someone to go up and down crawling through the thickets trying to look for something. But I certainly don't mind just sort of like, you know, walking about at very least. And helping to look for things, I suppose, here and there. So, yeah, we went geocaching around the vicinity. I suppose since we're talking about geocaching in general, we might as well talk all about geocaching. The first time I tried geocaching, I should explain. If you don't know what geocaching is, it's basically kind of like organized treasure hunts, is maybe how I'd describe it. Adult versions of treasure hunts, where there's a whole geocaching community where some people, I don't really know who, I guess if you're a geocacher, maybe you just decide to leave like a hidden capsule somewhere, in like not an incredibly hard to reach place. I mean, there's a variety. You can put it in a really easy place or difficult to reach place, normally in natural places where it's unlikely to be, you know, picked up and tossed away or something like that, I suppose, by a passerby. Like, ideally only a geocacher knowing to look for it would actually find it. But it's basically that you put the capsule somewhere and you put like a little piece of paper in it, and stuff like that, and other goodies here and there. And then in the geocaching community, I guess there's like an app or something, or whatever, which you can use, which you can upload, hey, like a rough location of where you hid that geocache. And basically, other geocachers will come along and try and find that capsule. And if they find it, then they take a little piece of paper out, they can write their like name on it, like, or in pen or paper. Sometimes there can be like little prizes in it. And what you're meant to do for prizes in it is you take it and then you swap it out for another prize that you brought along and put in. So it's basically sort of like a gifting chain. Yeah, so I don't remember when I was first introduced to the concept. Obviously, I knew things about like orienteering and treasure hunts, etc., like that. But like I've only ever known it as school activities and presumably things you do if you're in guides or scouts, which I never attended, so I never did. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so... Oh, yes. And then at some point, I don't know, during sixth form, I guess, I went geocaching with two of my friends. It was combined with like bike riding. I'm not really sure. We were like in a local area. I can't remember even how it came to be. Basically, one of my friends, like, we kind of taught him how to ride a bike over one afternoon and that sort of thing. And we went to the other friend's house who rides bike a lot. Like, he rides bikes, like, quite a lot. I ride bikes basically practically. I did it a lot in university, and I basically have never done it since. And then my other friend obviously didn't know how to ride a bike. And then we did like geocaching. About that, like we like started from his house. We like rode off on bikes and got to a location. Like tried to find the geocache, and then like we logged it, that sort of thing. How did I find it? I thought it was kind of fun. I mean, it's fun because you're hanging out with your friends, you're going around in nature. Honestly, like I like the activities tied when you do geocaching, like walking, and I think cycling over a decent, not a super long distance, but a moderate distance is good with me as well. I'm not gonna say I'm like, I'd be lying if I was like, oh yeah, I do a lot of cycling. But that's what we did. That was like my first experience with I think my first experience with geocaching. Maybe I might have done it on a school trip, but I don't really remember it if I did. So that happened. And then I think we did it again at a different point, but I generally don't remember it. So who knows what it could have been or when it could have been. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so we did it on the grounds that we stayed in this place. If you don't know, I went to Scotland, basically somewhere in the Highlands, and we basically did geocache. Like the place we stayed in, this like farming estate, had quite a lot of land, and apparently it was large enough that there was a load of these sort of geocaches about the place. There were 6 of them, I believe, and we sort of just did like a sort of walkabout this next morning to try and find them. We did it over 2 mornings because we tried to do it in one, but then like we had a time deadline and we didn't find the others or something. So the first one we found, I remember, it was at this guide sign. Like there was this like trail sign which had like you could open it up and it would give you like a list of the local flora and fauna that you can spot about the place. And like I don't remember, it was like super like waterlogged. It was laminated paper, but you know, it was like all warped and that sort of thing, so it was difficult to read. But like that first geocache was like on the ground underneath it. I will also say I was not wearing appropriate clothes for this geocache. I remember that much, because I also didn't know that was something we were going to do, and I was like, I'll tag along because, you know, at worst it's what I'm walking in a forest with my friends. How bad is that? And the answer is not at all. That's a great time. So I remember I was wearing like a skirt or whatever, and I was like, I'm not gonna like crawl on the ground on my bare legs or something trying to find this, but I will take photos and record when you do find it, and that I did. So the first one went swimmingly. We found it easy peasy. The second one, I think, also went occasionally, right? It was like underneath a tree, like tree well sort of thing. Well, a tree well, I guess, it only applies to snow, but it was under like the tree roots or something, and was like a little cavern thing nearish the lock. I feel like also we tried to take a shortcut, like to try go there like as a crow flies, and then we realized, oh, if we just followed the path we were on, we probably would have just like ended up towards it anyway. So the second one we found. The third one, I think we didn't find, right? Yeah, it was the one which was like, it was somewhere in the ferns, and like the clue was something like at the base of a birch tree or something, and it was apparently like really off a beaten path. And I was like, so we had to like climb up and down like a river to really get to it, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that, to be honest. So I just sort of like waited at the side where my other 2 friends tried to find it. They couldn't find it. I guess it was a pretty difficult thing, and then we ran out of time, so we had to leave before continuing on a couple of days later to try and do the rest of the geocaches. yeah, we saw a frog though, I think. Or was that a toad? I don't remember. Apparently we saw some foxgloves, my favourite flower. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say, because geocaching, I think, doesn't come inherently with a lot of stories. It's just more like a very fun, active thing to do, you know? It's sort of like, I don't know, like going on a morning run or something. It's like, that's not really something which you tell stories about. Well, I don't think, at least. I mean, or at least these geocaching stories weren't full of, like, daring do's and things like that, which I guess is not really what you're here for, but still. Well, maybe it is, I don't know. Presumably you would have clicked away at this point if you realised 10 minutes in that there's no action here. It was just a nice time sort of walking around. It was a bit wet, I remember that much. I'm trying to think what even happened. My friend lost, like, they had like this like walking cane, and they lost like the foot, I suppose, of it on that first day. But then the next day in the morning we came back to try and look for it, and we found it in the river. Very, very luckily, honestly. Like, literally, we just like got to that location and we looked down, and my friend saw it, and I was like, oh, nice. But yeah, we continued the geocaching, I think, another day, and we went backwards to get like 6, 5, and 4. I think they found number 6. I can't remember. I was also not wearing appropriate clothing for that geocaching experience as well. I'm pretty sure it was like a I don't remember what I was wearing, to be honest. Maybe like a dress of some kind. I don't know. Clearly my choices are not always the best for the activity. But I'm trying to remember what we did. Like the number 6. Oh yeah, it was super wet. It was super rainy on that day. What on earth is this? Why do I look like I've just been caught here or something? It was super wet, super rainy at this point. So we tried to find number 6. We did find it. It was by the lake. It was like buried in mud. I think we tried to find another one as well. Oh, did we do it over 3 days? Or 2 days? There was one we tried to find, and that was it. It was by like, okay, so I guess there is a story. I'm trying to remember it. The clue was it was by like a V-shaped oak tree, and we like walked to the location. But the thing is, there was construction work basically going on at the same time that we were on the estate. Like for the first 2 days we were there, or 3 days or something at the estate. There was no construction work, and then like we spoke to the owner, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this part of the road is going to be shut over the next few days as they do construction work. You'll have to take this alternate route." And we're like, "Okay, that's fine." But lo and behold, it actually was not fine, because when it came to do the final capsule geocaching, of which we tried to find at that V-shaped oak tree, there was in fact like a digger at it instead. I don't even know what they were doing, to be perfectly honest. I can't remember. I don't know if we took pictures of it, but we walked over there and we were like, no. I guess we could have just like approached it and been like, "Hey, digger, can we try and find this geocache?" But also, you know, I feel like it's better not to get in the way of other people's work and that sort of thing for something as trivial as a geocache. We found the location. We probably would have found it if we looked, and if we didn't, we found the general area, which is kind of a spirit of geocache, right? Making sure you get to the right area, making sure you actually find the stuff related to it in the first place. But yeah, we didn't actually actively end up finding it. Like, we didn't find that many capsules, like 3 of them. We found half of them, right? 50%, which is you might say that's not a great hit rate, and that's true. I guess it's not a great hit rate, but still, could have been worse. Could have been a worse hit rate. But yeah, it was a nice time doing this geocaching. It was probably one of the wettest times doing geocaching. And again, one of only a couple of times of doing geocaching, so am I going to complain about it? No, of course not. It was a grand old time. A fun time had by all. What did we get from it? We got a couple of 3 nice morning walks, memories, good photos, and yeah. I mean, that's just kind of what geocaching is. I mean, it's also, you know, credit to geocaching, which I also didn't bring up before. Really super, like, cheap hobby to get into, right? people sometimes ask about like what is a cheap hobby which I can get into, etc., etc. Do geocaching. It's possible. Maybe no one does geocaching in your area, in which case, you know, I sympathise, I suppose. That makes it a little bit difficult to actually do the geocaching portion if you can't actively do it. But maybe you can start it in your community. You know, you be the first person to start putting down some geocache locations for people, and then who knows, a whole community can spawn from it and finding these little, I was going to call them parcels. Parcels are not a word. Capsules about the place. Or little papers where you can write notes and things like that. I don't know. I think the idea of geocaching is super cute, right? Like the person who can originally puts it down, maybe they put like a little like cute message to be like, you got this. Or like, put down like, answer a fun question or something underneath it. I don't know. Like, you can imagine. I don't actually know if this is the origin of geocaching, but you can imagine it has very cute origins. Something super sweet, you look it up and it's just like, aww, is a way to like for people to connect together or something. And when I look it up and it's just got like the most horrific origins imaginable. Geocaching, let's see. Oh, it's actually straight up a website called Geocaching. History. Similar game letterboxing originated in 1854, which is basically orienteering. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. Geocaching. There's apparently a whole website for it, and depending on when it shop for gifts. Sorry, that immediately caught my attention because there was a plushie. This looks like an American website, I guess, because it's in dollars. Micro tracker, signal the frog. Oh, tracker and signal. That's cute names for our plushies, for the mascots. We love a good mascot. Anyway, apparently there's a geocaching website. There you go. Geocache consisting of ammo. Oh, of an ammo can. I read it wrong. Geocache site and information card. Geo art. There's a full-on Wikipedia page about all the types of geocaching are. You know what? That's pretty cool. We like it. We love that. A hobby which can bring people together, like geocaching. And you can leave a sort of memory. And you can imagine all the other people coming along and also finding the same geocaching trail and following it as you. And at the end of the day, it's basically just sort of like a modern day orienteering, right? And orienteering's probably one of the more fun sort of like school time activities you might do during PE. Saying that, we only ever did it once or twice, I think, but still. Anyway, on that note, I guess I'll round this episode off here. I don't know, I've nothing else to say about geocaching. It's just a pleasant time, to be honest. But there's not much depth to it. You just go find you find the caches, that's it. Right? Log it. And yeah, I don't know. I will say the geocaches I found have never been quite as big at it as this one. All the ones that we've had have all been like very tiny, like pill capsules rather than these Tupperware boxes. But maybe that's depending on where the geocache community you are is. Anyway, on that note, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.